had a famous victory in their last visit to headquarters. Could Galway come out on top this time? And at Clonus, the big fixture there had an Ulster Championship look about it, but it was definitely qualifying fair at the Monaghan venue today. Yes, those are our big games here on the programme tonight, and also the draw for the quarter-finals of the Football Championship. It's been a long, hard summer so far, but now just 8 teams left in at this stage. Joe Brawley and Pat Spillane are here with me in studio to discuss today's games and indeed to also comment on the draw, and that's coming up a little bit later on. Now, your views are always welcome here on the Sunday Game. Our email address is gaa@rte.ie, and also just to mention about our website, that's www.rte.ie/GAA. Now, also coming up later on the programme as well, we have our competition, the names of last week's winners plus this week's little tester for you. And now, by the way, you're always welcome to write to us by conventional post, although contact by email is the quickest way to get your opinions through to the programme. But now, let's get straight to our first match here on the programme tonight. The meeting of Sligo and Dublin at Croke Park this afternoon was generally regarded to be a tough assignment for the Dubs. Now, that was on the strength of Sligo's great victory over Kildare the last time out, plus a good display against Mayo in Connacht. So had the Dubs read the warning signs? Commentary is by Marty Morrissey and Tony Davis.
The kick out goes straight to Kieran Quinn. Getting it in for his Desi Sloy. Could do nothing wrong the last day against Kildare. Terry McGowan well beaten by Shane Ryan, who impressed when he came on the field last Sunday, and Martin Cahill got that knock. Sideline ball Sligo. Gone inside is Terry McGowan. Shane Ryan, ball watching for a moment, and McGowan puts it over the bar. Quick thinking by the Tourlestrane clubman. Scorer of 6 points so far in the qualifiers, 4 against Carlow, 2 against Kildare, and 1 here now against Dublin. Desi Farrell, rather. Jason Sherlock. Geo in a spot of bother. I think he has it. Lays it off. Hefty shoulder. Dublin man gives it back to Jason. And that's going to be a free for Dublin. And a chance to level the match. Declan Darcy, who's been plagued by injury and has had to work very, very hard to get back into top form. Gaining selection in a last-minute dramatic dressing room switch. Gets his first point in the championship.
Yes, Marty, and he would be well used to playing Sligo from his time with Leitrim. He'll know them very well. And it is vital for Dublin to get all those frees.
Little push on Johnny McGee by O'Hara. Means he can fly away. Father Andrews, McGee is back in now to challenge. The ball is half blocked and Shane Ryan comes away with it. Indishihi gets by the challenge of Patrick Nocton. Nocton and Durkin seems to have switched wings again. Here's Paul Curry. Paul tried twice to score points against Meath. This is his first against Sligo, and it's over the bar. And his reaction tells the story, really. That was an important kick for Paul Curran.
Yes, it was a superb kick from the wrong side, curved it well in over the bar. And he had options as well. Declan Darcy and Jason Sherlock inside, and Desi Farrell are making some very good runs.
Colin Moran is making a run over that side. Sending it over towards Jason Sherlock. Well won by Sherlock, beats Brendan Phillips. Sherlock is going across the face of the goal, comes to Desi Farrell. 1, 2, and over the bar. Well, he didn't know which way to go. He jigged from one foot to the other. There was a goal definitely odd, but I think Desi will be reasonably happy with the point. But very good work here by Jason Sherlock, sending it across to Farrell. 1, 2, decided to go the other way and send it over the bar. Good play by Farrell. Michael Langer gets it back for as David Durkin. John McPartland is coming out now around the 40 to try and gather possession. Shane Ryan given a fair shoulder by Jerry McGowan, and he nips inside. Still McGowan. 3 Dublin defenders. Davy Byrne saves. Good save by the goalkeeper. And Coleman Goggins is there to gather the rebound. Enda Sheehy. But Jerry McGowan is certainly causing problems for Dublin's inner line, and Shane Ryan in particular. And Sligo now have gained a bit of momentum. Eamon O'Hara, the support play is from Paul Durkin. Can he take a score from there? It's over the bar. It's a sequence of play that surely psychologically will help Sligo, because they now feel, I'm sure, a little bit more confident.
Yes, and sure, it's another new experience for them to be playing against Dublin here in Cork Park. But that was a terrific score. Well won in midfield. Jerry McGowan was unlucky not to get a goal, which is a terrific save. And Paul Durkin from midfield, 45 yards out. A great score.
Just confirmation of that substitution. Senan Connell in, Darren Holman just gone to the substitutes bench. Senan Connell now. Down towards Colin Moore. Good running by Moore, and he has support. Very good play by Dublin. Chance here of a point, very well taken. Introduced just seconds ago, Senan Connell gets his first point. John McPartland. Jerry McGowan. Did well again. Thought about giving it to Sean Davey. McGowan hits it over the bar. Well, he was the man of the match in the game against Carlow. The 24-year-old has scored his second point in Croke Park. He looked around as well for options before choosing to go it himself. Two points now between the teams. Desi Farr with Philip Gallagher, and Gallagher did very well. Kieran Quinn. Carl O'Neill gets away from Father Andrews. O'Neill steadies himself and tries to curl it in over the bar, and achieves it with style. Great play by Carl O'Neill. Thought about sending a ball across the face of the goal, saw that he had the time and took his point well. Colin Moore. Desi Farrell. Philip Gallagher has done quite well since moving on the centre half forward, but unable to prevent him from scoring his second point of the match. Dublin captain leading by example and stretching his side's lead now to 2 points. Very good play here by Farrell, and a very good point. Eamon O'Hara knocks it down for us, Paul Durkin. Durkin tears away, Senan Connell chasing after him. He's able to finish normally, and he puts it over the bar. Every now and then we see flashes of what Sligo produced against Kildare, but particularly when the Sligo midfield and half-forward line decide to run at the opposing backs. Here's a good example from Paul Durkin. Good score. The running and the option provided by Senan Connell. Added job, brilliantly by Desi Farrell. centre-half forward from the Fianna. Getting to that cross from Senan Connell. Good score.
Good scoring again, set up by Paul Curran on the wing. Desi Farrell is really back to his best. You see a quick ball in, up and a punch straight over the bar. It looks like the old Desi that we used to know 2 or 3 years ago.
And with that point from Desi Farrell, Dublin take a 1-point advantage at half-time. Paul Curran using Senan Connell. Good running by Connell. Jason and Senan off the post. Comes back to Desi Farrell, and the ball is in the net. Philip Gallagher, the cornerback, wasn't expecting it. It came into the waiting arms of Desi Farrell. The 3 Fianna players combined here, and it was Farrell that stuck it past James Curran. Great catch by Colin Moore. Coming through the centre is Kieran Whelan. Whelan giving inside to Jason Sherlock. Back to Whelan. Oh, great goal! Two goals in the space of 3 minutes at the start of the second half. Surely seals Dublin's victory here. Kieran Whelan using Jason Sherlock, who was involved in the first goal, and a great finish. Dublin go forward again. There's a chance here of a third goal. Oh, Susan Malone, the ball is in the net. Linda Sheehy. For the third time in the second half, a wonderful defence-splitting move. And at the end of it, Enda Sheehy, who took his goal, took on James Curran and finished despite the best efforts of Brendan Phillips. Paul Taylor is wearing number 23. Eamon O'Hara is centre-half forward, and that's a point for Sligo. Well, maybe the Dublin storm is over from a Sligo perspective, but that point is so important just to get them back into a rhythm. Kieran Whelan, Jason Sherlock. Plenty of options. Good lockdown. Great determination by Jason to win possession back. Here's Wayne McCarthy. That is a fabulous score. A great point by Wayne McCarthy. Well, Tommy Carr's decision to change the team before the game started and bring in Enda Sheehy and Declan Darcy has certainly had a positive effect on the 2 players omitted. Senan Connell and Wayne McCarthy have contributed handsomely to this performance, and that's another fine point for Wayne McCarthy. Heather Andrews now. Uses Shane Ryan. Paul Curran. Great running in the middle by Kieran Whelan. This is Whelan now. That is looking fabulous. That's an example of how football should be played. It's a disappointing, even heartbreaking afternoon for Sligo and Croke Park. The best for many, many years by Dublin, and you certainly wouldn't have expected it when you saw the first half performance when they led by just 1 point. Full time in Croke Park, it's Dublin 3 goals and 17 points, Sligo 12 points, a 14-point victory for Dublin.
That's a little bit different than it was this time last Sunday, thankfully. I think a very clinical display of ourselves. Took us a little bit to get going, but we went in a point or two ahead at half-time. Very happy, very proud of the fellas.
We wanted to start the second half, and that start Dublin had we wanted, and we were saying the first 10 minutes we were really going to take it to them, and they came out and they got the 2 goals, and a point, and then next thing they were 8 points up, and they started kicking points for fun after that. You know, but it's a crucial turning point in the game. I mean, first goal came back off the post, and I think Desi Farrell finished it, and got a goal shortly after that. It was very difficult for us then.
Well, we've always believed that, you know what I mean, we have the capabilities to win a Leinster Championship and win All Ireland, and it hasn't happened for us the last couple of years, but we certainly haven't lacked effort, and this team has bounced back today, and we're right back in it, and we'll be hoping we can go the whole way.
Yeah, no fairy tale for Sligo this afternoon, I'm afraid. The Dubs proving too strong, and it's Tommy Carr's team who have their championship hopes right back on track. However, it's been a brave effort by the Sligo panel. A lot of work has gone into this summer's campaign by all kinds of people, including the team psychologist, Jarlath Cunningham. Now, he'd also worked, remember, with Crossmolina this year in their run to the All-Ireland Club Championship. So, what exactly does a team psychologist do? We decided to find out.
3 years old in sport would say I was never really to be a sportsman, but I was more interested in see how people tick, what makes them tick, what makes people want to participate, what happens when a guy loses, why does he drop out of sport, why can't he get more out of himself, like what's wrong, why can't he use some other form of activity to help him to get back into his sport again after losing. I have a great interest in how the mind thinks. It fascinates me because it's always changing. I go on the chaos theory, everything happens for a reason. I have a job to do when I go on the pitch. My job isn't to do the tactics on the pitch. Peter Ford does that, and TJ and Shane and Matty. That's their responsibility. I got to ensure that players are ready to go on the pitch. They're concentrating all the time. So if Peter Ford turns around and says, I want number 3 or number 4, I have him ready. He's not going to be going, panicking and all of a sudden. So my job is to discipline the sideline to make sure guys are kept fresh, kept in tune with the game.
Talk to me about being involved with Crossmolina and the success you had.
Yeah, Crossmolina, I got a phone call from Tommy Jordan 2 years ago, and I went down and he said, Jared, it's like this, I need someone to train the team while I manage the team, he said. And I became a cog in the wheel there. The first year though, we got to the All-Ireland semi-final and then, we lost it, to Nafina. Like, that was heartbreaking. Like, myself and Tommy sat down after the game and we just sat there and we talked to each other and we said, what can we do different? We're not going to give up on this. I had a job to do, go in and get to an All-Ireland final and win. That was my objective. So not achieving it that year really hurt, but got back a week afterwards, talked to Tommy, got going again, and I changed some ideas. I rang some very influential GA stars and asked them, where did I go wrong, I felt Pat's Villan. Yeah, I like Pat's Villan. A lot of people, I think he thought I was a crazy guy first, because I rang him every week for a few weeks until he'd answer my call. And once he answered and realised that I was actually serious about what I was doing, I have to say he was a great help. What I would do would happen maybe weeks before the game, maybe last year, maybe 2 months ago, maybe a phone call I made to a player yesterday, or a text message or a letter I might write to him about what he should be thinking of, or an article in a book he should read to help him on maybe focusing on an area of his game. I wouldn't really slate a player for, not performing well. I try to help him to improve what he can already do. Maybe there's a mental block over something that's bothering. Maybe there's something emotional wrong. Maybe there's something social. Maybe the job isn't going well. I'm just someone I have 2 very good ears. I do twice as much listening, and that can be a help sometimes. Just talk to you, ringing them out of the blue.
Traditionalists would probably view your role with an amount of scepticism. What's your response to that?
After winning the All-Ireland Club final with Crossmolina, it's called a little medal. You know what I mean? Like, if I waffle, that's fair enough, but sometimes if a guy only takes one bit of your waffle, if that's what they want to call it, but a lot of them are using it in a different way. It might appear to them as waffle. Other managers or trainers are doing the same thing. Every county team is basically doing the same thing. It's just the team that does the most on the day wins. It's as simple as that. A lot of it is research. I do a lot of research. I will go to the ends of Ireland to find out what Pat Villan is doing or Sean Boylan is doing. I want to know, and if that's going to help, I'll take a bit from there, I'll take a bit from there, and I'll put it together somehow. So I wouldn't be too worried about the scepticism of it's waffle or any of that. I thrive on that. The more people that tell me I won't do it, the more determined I get.
It's a disappointing, even heartbreaking afternoon for Sligo and Croke Park. First half it looked like they were well in contention for victory.
It was a bit of a bone shaker, as they say, but I think the lads coped quite well with it. They didn't drop the heads. A lot of times they would have, before in the past, they would have dropped the heads and not tried. We got 12, 13 points on the scoreboard still, so we're not too disappointed. Like, we got to this stage of the qualifiers. A lot of teams didn't even get this far. We played twice in Croke Park. Some teams would love to play here in front of 60,000 people. The lads would be disappointed, but you can't send to players at that level because they know what the hurt is themselves. They have to deal with it themselves, but they'll bounce back. We'll be back in action soon again, and the league, we'll start a good league campaign and we'll be back at it again, you know. There's no points, you know, when you poke your head this far above the crowd, you know, you have to have a poke sometimes, so we got a poked, and in fair play to Dublin, they were very, very good, you know. They kept at us the whole time. They didn't stop, which was great. They didn't lack up either, because they probably figured that we would probably come back, and we did. We came back in stages, but, you know, look, the breaks didn't go our way today, and we have to take it on the chin like men, you know.
Well, Sligo clearly prepared as well as anyone could, there's no doubt about that. But then I suppose you can never plan for what happened in the first few minutes of that second half. And I suppose Pat Spillane and Tommy Carr would see a certain irony in Dublin's blistery performance, given what happened 12 months ago against Kildare, where they were 6 points up.
Indeed, I mean, you can prepare a team all, and I'm an advocate for psychologists, psychiatrists, anything they can give that can better prepare a team is welcome. But you can legislate for something that happened, and it was 5 minutes of madness that happened after half-time, where Sligo conceded 2 goals and 2 points. Now, the first goal was fortuitous enough. I mean, it hopped off the post into Philip Galler's hand. He wasn't ready for it, and Desi fair play was on. Second goal was a very, very well worked goal, followed up with a point from Declan Darcy, and then followed up with Coleman Goggins, who ran the hole into the field and actually managed to kick the ball wide, and they got a point for it. So I mean, at that stage, if the Sligo heads weren't going to drop before then, they certainly were going to drop after that. And like I said, you can legislate for so much, but that 5 minutes of madness cost Sligo. They threw in the towel after that. The heads went down.
Yeah.
And you know, let's take nothing from Dublin. Very, very good defence, outstanding centre field, tremendous fitness, tremendous physique. There's a great work ethic there. There's a very strong panel to call it. To analyse the game outside of that 5 minutes of madness, maybe we could take a look at that first half and see, well, what kind were Dublin like in the first half. And they struggled up front, where Desi Farrell was the only forward who scored for play in the first half. And you know, when it's tight and when the going was hard, Dublin struggled. Now after that, in the second half, once they got the 8-point or 9-point lead, they were showboating. I mean, Wayne McCarthy hopped the ball behind his back, turned around and kicked the ball over the bar. There was no one near him. Last Sunday he wouldn't have done it. That's because right. Mark O'Reilly would have lamped him up to the front row of the upper front row of the Cusack stand. You know, that was the sort of. So it's very difficult to analyse. But I'd say this stuff for Dublin. Dublin will be no pushover for anyone. They're a much improved outfit from last year. The changes they made for today worked. Declan Darcy brought that extra bit of strength. Free taking ability was good. In the Sheehy was valuable. And like I said, the Vinnies and all that coming in, they're not bad. They be there or thereabouts for any team. I'll tell you this, in the draw later on, they'll be one to watch out for, and to avoid.
We'll watch out for that later on and see who avoids them and who doesn't manage to. Joe Bradley, can I come back to the psychologist for a little moment? Did you have one in Derry when you were
I was just thinking of a psychologist going into the Kerry Golden Years dressing room and trying to explain something to the bomber. we had a very eminent sports psychologist, really, who's gone on to tremendous things, you know, and coached top tennis stars and all that, but he was completely flummoxed by Brian McGilligan, and I mean, I was very surprised that he didn't retire after his experience in the Derry dressing room. I mean, Pat's right about the Dubs. There'll be no pushover. They've worked very hard in their defence, and today their defence was excellent again.
Yeah.
It was a big ordeal for Sligo. Dublin morale was very high after the game against Meath. I think they appreciated that they should really have won that game against Meath, and the game against Kildare maybe gives Sligo a false sense of their worth, in the sense that Sligo played the game of their lives that day, and that's all adrenaline. Your tails are up. You know, it's a one-off deal. It's very hard to repeat that. It's just hard to repeat that every week.
Sure,
and they played manfully today, but the reality is that Dublin are playing at a very different level. And you know, the way they're playing, just a different pace. And they're you know, Dublin are at the top table now, and I think that, you know, I mean, whoever get Dublin will have their work cut out. You know, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Dublin went, you know, a lot further this year.
Yeah, well, they're still there. That's the one thing that we know for sure at this point. Now, before we leave that Sligo-Dublin game, we have one more piece of business to complete, and that's the man of the match from the game. The choice was Dublin forward Desi Farrell. Now, Desi has had a long and distinguished career in the Dublin jersey, and clearly there's plenty more left in the Nafina man.
Congratulations, Desi Farrell, on winning the RT Man of the Match for this match. You must have been slightly worried at half-time.
Yes, we definitely were. At half-time it was a one-point game, and it was anybody's game at that stage. But I think we sort of circled the wagons, and we realised the significance of what was about to take place in the next 35 minutes was all important for Dublin's prospects.
That second half performance, is it possibly the turning point for this Dublin team?
You'd like to think so. It might be slightly premature to talk like that. Some might say the draw was kind to us, but who knows? Who knows what lies ahead for this Dublin team?
Who knows indeed. Right now, though, here on the programme, we take a commercial break. Now, coming up in part 2, we have Kevin and Derry from Clonus. Also to come on the Sunday game tonight, it's Galway against Cork, and the draw for the football quarter-final. So join us again shortly. Sunday game. When the draw for this weekend's matches in the football qualifiers was made last Sunday night on the Sunday game, there was a rumble. Well, it was sure to muster up memories of past championship encounters between the two. A different circumstance then, but a familiar challenge. The commentary is by Darren Maloney.
Cavan had 2 vacancies to fill in their 15, with Barry McCrudden now over his dead leg and fit enough to play in midfield. Mickey Graham fills the other vacancy. He'll wear 18 today. Finbar O'Reilly is their top scorer in the championship with 9 points. Derry also had a vacancy in their forward line. That's been filled by Paul McFlynn, who was very doubtful for this match today. They've had problems in their half-forward line all year. Only Johnny McBride has managed to score in the championship, but that full forward line has 229 between them. Galway referee Michael Curley gets this All-Ireland qualifier underway. The 4th meeting of these sides in the last 2 years. Derry have won 2. There's been a draw, and those 2 victories have been by huge margins. Straight away, Mickey Graham has gone into the corner for Cavan as they concede a free. Anthony Tohill standing over it. Larry Riley now out at right half forward. Gary Coleman has gone with them, so Fergal Crossan, the new Derry centre half back. But Derry, with other thoughts on their minds, Anthony Tohill has scored 5 points in the championship to date. This will give Derry a great start after some 40 seconds. Straightforward kick for Anthony Tohill. No mistakes from there. Good point. Derry off the mark, leading after barely a minute of play. Derry's defence at times has been quite porous. 3 goals conceded against Tyrone earlier on in the championship. Here's Tohill, powerful running, and they've fouled him. Anthony Ford going in over the top. Derry take it quickly, and they really do look very lively indeed. Johnny McBride, that's a great point from Johnny McBride. Sent off, you'll remember, against Antrim, only his 3rd point of the championship. Fabulous score. McCabe in acres of space. Full forward line have hardly seen the ball, and that beats everybody but not Owen McCluskey. Sean Marty Lockhart. Kieran McNally. Harry Riley made the challenge. It's Fergal Crossan. Kieran McNally from Balahi. Derry seemed to play that in slow motion. Here's Enda Muldoon. Now it quicks up. Here's Dermot Dugan. Dugan needs some space. They found a big hole. Gary Coleman very composed in front of the post. Coleman's first point of this All-Ireland qualifier. And Derry very firmly in control. 3 points to no score after 9 minutes. Again, a much better kick out from Aaron Donoghue, but the result, Anthony Tohill so commanding in the air. Cavan unable to get any sort of a foothold around the middle. Kieran McNally, Derry half-back line playing well. Patrick Bradley. Bradley has space. Michael Bryde's never close enough to him. Enda Muldoon. The Derry movement causing Cavan all sorts of problems. And that's Paul McFlynn, and that's a wonderful score. Cavan in real trouble here, and they'll have to do something pretty quickly. Derry tearing them apart. Tiredness shouldn't be a problem from a Cavan point of view. They had 2 weeks to get over their Ulster final defeat. Derry have had a pretty busy schedule, but they look so fresh. Here's Gavin Diamond. Diamond has Bradley inside. Will he take the point? Yes, the sensible option from Gavin Diamond. 4 of the Derry forwards have now scored, and that was a nice point from Gavin Diamond, his 11th in the championship. And he could have gone for a goal there, but sensible thing at this early stage to take the point. Well, what can Cavan do about this? Every kick out from Aaron Donoghue has been sent straight back in, apart from this one. Barry McCrudden. Even a point for them at this stage is would do. Jason Riley unable to get to it, and it's gone wide. After 16 minutes, I think that may be the first time Owen McCluskey has kicked the ball out. Cavan have hardly been in the Derry half. Dermot McCabe. This could give the team a big lift. That's a great score from Dermot McCabe. Well, they badly needed that. Very important timing for Cavan, finally off the mark after 17 minutes. And really it didn't look on when he got possession of the ball, but he swung that huge left boot and it sailed over. Kieran McNally to Johnny McBride. Good half-forward play, linking up rather with his half-back line, but they've lost it. Larry Riley. Barry McCrudden. Jason Riley, look how deep he's had to come to get the ball. Cavan needs something, and here's Anthony Ford. Chance of a goal. Oh, great goal from Anthony Ford. Out of nothing. For once the Derry defence went asleep, and that's brought them right back into this game. Derry still lead, but Cavan getting closer. Now look at Paul McFlynn. He's switched wings with Johnny McBride. Patrick Bradley. Derry still working the ball. Gavin Diamond, and they found a space. Paul McFlynn will his switch to this side have worked. Well, that's gone over the bar. A number of the Cavan players thought it just drifted to the left and wide at the very last minute. That's his second point of the game, Paul McFlynn. And that point coming at a very important time for Derry. The next score after Anthony Ford's goal, that was. And now it's up to Cavan to respond. McCabe belts it in again. That's towards Jason Riley. Hasn't got a lot of possession today. Here's Mickey Graham. Graham has plenty of support to his left, but decides to go himself. Needs more help. Finally gets it. Finbar O'Reilly going round the corner. And that looks good from Finbar O'Reilly. It's a lovely point. Brings them to within 2. And they put back-to-back scores together. Not if Fergal Doherty catches ball like that. Tohill is free. Gets away from Barry McCrudden. McCrudden now making the challenge. Tohill still going, so powerful. Oh, that's a brilliant score. One of the points of the match so far from Anthony Tohill. Well, the second half underway. A very significant change on the Derry 15. Sean Marty Lockhart has had to retire injured. He's been replaced by Dermot Heaney, so Derry have had to rejig things. Heaney on operating at centre half forward. Here's Anthony Tohill charging through. Barry McCrudden. Tohill with a chance of a goal. Oh, wonderful goal by Anthony Tohill. That's a fabulous score. And what a start to the second half for Derry after 20 seconds. And they are cruising now. Well, this was a brilliant score from Anthony Tohill. Cavan, whether they were caught cold, I don't know, but Barry McCrudden never got close enough. Aaron Donoghue tried to get out to narrow the angle, but great skill from Anthony Tohill. Derry off to a flyer in this second half. McCabe and Tohill neither able to claim. Fergal Doherty first to the breakdown. Dermot Dugan. Enda Muldoon. Again, Thomas Pryor behind him. Muldoon has been out in front nearly all the time today. Patrick Bradley. And a bad miss in the first half. Enda Muldoon floats it in. Attackers ball, and that's a lovely point. Dermot Heaney in the right place at the right time. That was a clever ball in. And Heaney, well, he doesn't look the fittest player in the world, but effective from that distance out. Kevin McCloy with the boot forward. Jerry Sheridan. Position's not meaning an awful lot. That ball taken in the middle by the right corner back. Mickey Graham with the layoff. Here comes Anthony Ford again. Ford taken down. Fergal crossing, claiming he got the ball. But it's another free in a very scoreable position for Cavan. Peter Riley has scored 1 already in this second half. Will make that 2 now. Never really going to miss from there, the Cavan captain. They're just 5 points behind. We've been playing for 10 minutes of this second half. McCluskey with a poor kick out comes straight to Larry Riley. Riley fouled. Dermot McCabe made a great run through the middle. Riley goes the aerial route towards Mickey Graham. Now Jason Riley hasn't really got a sight on goal today, and they've brought another free out of the Derry defence. Derry not too happy with the decision, but it was definitely a free, and this time it will be Finbar O'Reilly to kick it. Well, if this goes over, Clonus will erupt, and it has. Now just a 4-point game. Finbar Riley holding his nerve in front of the post. Game on. Lots of space around the middle for McNally. Time to pick his spot, and he's picked out Enda Muldoon. Lovely layoff to Johnny McBride. Big chance of a score here. They've got a free instead. And that's what they wanted from that position. McBride did well coming into that space. Just brought down definite free. Well, Anthony Tohill has been pretty flawless in front of goal this afternoon. And he's continued that form. Now a goal and 4 in the game for Anthony Tohill, and Cavan, just when they were getting close, Derry have pulled away again. Johnny McBride plucking that one out of the air under close attention from Edward Jackson, and McBride fouled. Both teams have played well in spurts, and here goes Patrick Bradley. Oh, that's a fine score from Bradley. Had a poor first half. Lovely point, and now the 7 between the teams in Clonus. Derry on a roll again. Well, this well worth taking another look at from Patrick Bradley. As I say, a quiet first half, couple of disappointing misses. Hardly even looked at the post, slotted it over. Great point. John Tierney, wearing 12, didn't start the game. He's just come on as a substitute in the last few minutes. Here's Paul McFlynn. He's lasted the pace very well despite the doubts about his fitness. And he can kick points as well. That's his 3rd. Excellent point from Paul McFlynn, and Derry surely now cruising towards the last 8 of the All-Ireland Championship. Dermot Heaney to Johnny McBride. McBride powering through, has some support, lots of it there. Dermot Heaney. Now Gavin Diamond. Will they get a goal? Patrick Bradley. Oh dear. That is one of the misses of the championship. Seemed to have too much time. There were 2 players free outside him. And Patrick Bradley just snapped at that. Great chance of a goal. Perhaps he should have passed it back inside. It goes down as another wide. 10 now for Derry. Larry Riley. Is this to be the end of Cavan's championship adventure? Their chances of getting into the quarter-finals of the All-Ireland looking fairly slim at the moment. Larry Riley again pumps it towards Dermot McCabe. McCabe has it, has some support. There's a chance for Cavan. Oh, well, that was a brilliant block. What a fantastic bit of skill, denying Peter Riley. Well, this had goal written all over it. McCabe did the hard part, finally got possession, laid it out to Riley, and that is absolutely brilliant. Finbar Riley with the 45. Can't get the point, and it's gone in. It's a goal from Peter Riley. Well, is there hope for Cavan? They've got about 3.5 minutes to drag themselves back into this game. And that was a lovely goal from Peter Riley. Anthony Tohill for once let the ball slip out of his hands, and Riley, what about that for quick reactions? Goal for Cavan. Still hope for them. Gareth Doherty. Nice play. Paul McFlynn. McFlynn to Gavin Diamond. Larry Riley coming in again. Another big shoulder. Diamond stands his ground, and he's away from the Cavan attacker. About 20 seconds to go. Derry on their way into the All-Ireland quarter-finals. And there is the full-time whistle, perhaps 10 seconds early from the Galway referee, Michael Curley. But you have to say, a very deserved victory for Derry. Cavan did play well in patches, but they never really recovered from their performance in the first 15 minutes. Derry through to the last 8. They've beaten Cavan by 114 to 2 goals and 7.
It was a workman-like performance. We knew it wasn't going to be easy. Cavan played very well against Tyrone, and we knew that we had to get on top of them early in the game. We know how hard it is to come back. You know, playing your first game after being knocked out of the championship. And I think we got maybe 6 points against the Breeze to start with, and it gave us a great cushion. And I suppose only for my gift at the end, I think we probably would have ran it a wee bit more comfortable.
We have a problem getting out of the blocks at the start of both halves, you know, and we've been trying to conscious of that, like, and
you wouldn't think that we're conscious of it today. Like, I mean, the goal straight after half-time, Anthony Toll, like, and he's a fabulous player and it was a great goal.
I think the Cavan boss got us G'd up during the week, telling us that the nine of this team we hadn't played against nine of this team in the championship, but I think we played against them in Ballinasquin in the league earlier on. But Derry played well, and we were on top all over the pitch first 25 minutes. Started to fizzle out after that, actually.
Well, Joe Brolly was saying recently that when the Sunday game stays away from Derry, they're more likely to win. Well, we certainly bucked that trend for you today. Cameras were there and you won.
Yeah, well, I mean, I said sort of before that the last team that Cavan wanted to play was Derry, and apparently one of the senior Cavan players' reaction when he was told they were playing Derry was, for F's sake, not those boys again. And today, the scoreline really flattered Cavan. The 2 goals really just prevented the scoreline from becoming a total embarrassment. Derry played well today. I said before they've been inching towards the All-Ireland and pretty unimpressive largely, but they raised their performance well today. The full-back line is very mean. The defence is very mean. I was looking through statistics during the weekend. They've got the lowest scores against of any county in the country still left in the championship, 10 points per game, which is very impressive. And Gareth Doherty at cornerback, Sean Martin Lockhart in the other corner, and Kevin McCloy. They're very, very impressive. Gareth Doherty is actually a converted left half forward from Balahi, and he's an excellent cornerback and showed a lot of imagination on the part of the selectors to play him there. He's conceded 1 point in 5 games. So the defence is very mean and no one likes to play against them. Also, we have a lad now, Kieran McNally from Balahi, who's playing in the half-back line, who's a real gem, and we were hopeful that he'd be moved into centre half-back because he can really control a game from there. The midfield today was brilliant. Total attacking like Kieran Whelan, and boy can he attack. I mean, no one can attack like Toho when he's in a mood like he was in today. With Fergal Doherty alongside him from Balahi, who's a 19-year-old. Balahi were actually reluctant to let him come to the county this year because he's so young, but so vibrant and athletic and throws himself about and mixes it and wins the breaks, does all the donkey work, lets Anthony play the football. And generally the selection was spot on today. We have some problem areas, but the half-forward line was very good today. Paul McFlynn's a much better forward than defender, and he was brought up today into the half-forward line and scored 3 points. And really, the story of the game was that it was largely speaking over after about 15 minutes. The Cavan goal was excellent and sort of brought them back into it.
But Derry got some nice points to start off. I mean, that really kind of, as you said, settle things down, set the trend for the day.
Aye, well, Derry haven't played as slickly as this all year, and it was very slick play. I mean, the first 6 points really one after the other, and at that stage the Cavan fella's worst sort of fears were being realised. Derry didn't relent at all during that first 15 minutes. And what was most pleasing was, I mean, you look at this one coming the length of the field, something that Derry were criticised for very much in the last couple of games, looking up, giving the ball, not losing possession. I mean, we were losing possession far too cheaply, kicking it over the sideline. But stuff like this is very heartening. I mean, this goes the length of the field. It's a mixture of foot passing and hand passing. All the boys, comfortable on the ball, and you'll see it ends with a very, very good score indeed. And against tight defending, you can see that the defence is tough, and that was the pattern in the first 15 minutes. It was really very pleasing. The Derry people were delighted today. Now, obviously, we have a long way to go. But the sort of football that we saw there today, we haven't seen all season, and it was very, very heartening. Because the footballers are there, there's still a lot of fine-tuning to be done. I think that there's still some players playing out of position, and there are some spots that are going to have to be looked at. There are some lads who are not going to cut the mustard when it comes to the crunch. But
would you see the same room for improvement that Derry have made?
Well, I thought he was the acting PRO for the Derry County Board there, because I thought he was going to go through all 15 and praise them. Derry football, I always felt over the last number of years, Derry football, Charles Dickens had them in mind when he wrote Great Expectations, because they failed to deliver one All-Ireland title. I mean, with all due respect, the team that Joe Brolly was involved in were probably the greatest underachievers in Gaelic football and should have had at least 2 more All-Ireland titles. This present crop aren't half as good. They're stumbling past. They're into the quarter-final. No one has given them a chance. And they're getting closer than better teams over the last number of years. But like Joe said, I mean, they've certainly made a big improvement in the full back line since the Tyrone game, and the youngsters are improving, so they'll be there or thereabouts. But fair play, Joe boosted them up well tonight.
They were even able to brush off things like the Cavan goal when that came, that I suppose helped to put Cavan on the scoreboard closer to them than perhaps they were in reality.
I think I said, well, Anthony Ford is really a great player, and it has to be said he's been one of the players of the championship this year. He's only 25, but a born leader, and there he was, putting his money where his mouth was, coming up, and he dragged them back into the game. But the game, Derry were so overwhelmingly superior that the goal only served to keep the scoreline respectable. And obviously when they came into the second half, the same pattern emerged again. Derry superior around the middle of the park, totally tight in the defence. I mean, Jason Riley, Larry Riley, Mickey Graham, all the Cavan danger men held scoreless. I mean, Jason Riley got 2 touches of the ball. It's a great foundation for a team to be miserly in defence. I mean, I'm not saying we're world beaters, but nobody will want to play us.
But also, as you said, like when you have people like Anthony Toll kind of putting on the kind of storming performance that he put on. And the goal was fantastic because he did a little juggle with the ball and everything before he kicked it.
Like there are some things that Anthony doesn't do well, but what he does do well is attack, and it's absolutely breathtaking when he attacks like this. He did it against Meath last year in the National League Series when he was really, some of the scores were. I mean, here's from the kick-off, Fergal Doherty, a lovely punt pass. Now, nothing much looks on here. I mean, here he's coming at an oblique angle, one man, two man, and this is the beauty of it. I mean, he goes to toe-tap the ball, he realises he hasn't time to catch it, and what does he do? He volleys it into the net, and I mean, it was a thing of beauty. I mean, to me, that's the goal of the championship.
He obviously enjoyed it himself. Right, gentlemen, thank you for the moment. Now, at this juncture, we're going to take our second commercial break of the programme, but coming up in the next part of the Sunday game, it's Galway versus Cork, our weekly competition, plus that football quarter-final draw. Stay with us. Victory. And on the subject of the draw for the quarterfinals, Owen McGinn says to dispel all rumours of a fixed draw, could you cover the glass bowls so that those making the draw cannot see the balls as they are drawing them? Yeah, well, Owen, the balls within that bowl are actually covered and the names are wrapped so nobody can actually see them. I can assure you of that, and covering the bowl wouldn't really make any difference. However, more about the draw later. Our final piece of action on the programme tonight comes from Croke Park again. Now, this was the meeting of the beaten Munster finalists Cork and Galway. Would the Corkmen be able to pick themselves up after the disappointment of that defeat to Kerry? The commentary on this one is by Ger Canning and Martin Carney.
Kevin O'Dwyer, who is Cork's goalkeeper, playing in his 20th championship match. Galway applying the pressure again. Tommy Joyce, this is better, that's over the ball. Tommy Joyce, Killer Aaron, getting his first point of this match. Kevin Walsh, back it comes again, Bergen's after it. That's a useful kick, it comes off the post. And Kearns is the first to react. And it was a really good goal chance, but it's a 45 instead. Well, a combination of Anthony Lynch there and his goalkeeper denying Alan Kearns of the first genuine goal chance of this match. Here's Pádraig Joyce. 22nd championship match today. So far he scored 6 goals and 74 points. Huge tally. And he has got another. Great kick by Pádraig Joyce. Such a talented football player. O'Donovan taking it back. Micheál O'Donovan here. Swept in. The goalkeeper did well. That's Alan Kane. Got a very good fist to it. Would have been a bit injudicious, I think, to have tried to catch that one with a forward like Fionn Murray coming in on top of you. Here's Michael Donnellan. Great ball. Great positioning taken up by Pádraig Joyce. Taking on Canty, the young full-back. Going this way, going that. And in the end, fisting a very good point. It's the third of the match for Galway. And a second for Pádraig Joyce. They have the forwards, there's no doubt in the world about that. And we've 13 minutes of play, God, and Cork yet to score. That is a fabulous catch there by Ja Fallon. Great footballer. Inside towards Pádraig Joyce. They're after him. They scamper away with that ball. Looking for the bits and pieces, but in the end, a boot goes in there as the player was in the act of trying to get the ball up, and Graham Canty is being spoken to by the referee. And it's going to be another yellow card. Well within the range of Pádraig Joyce. Ooh, it's low this time. Should have been mopped up by the Cork backs. It's Paul Clancy still trying to apply some finish here. They work it around there, and it's Donnellan kicks and he puts it over the bar. Michael Donnellan, footballer of the year just a couple of seasons back. But all the big names are doing it for Galway in the early stages of this match, and they lead by 4 points to 0. Cork really struggled big time in midfield last Sunday against Kerry in the Munster final. They're struggling again here. Bergen towards Joyce. Runs outside there to Joe Fallon. Quick look up at the target. Same result. Well, across on the far side, the fans wondering, can Cork come back into it? That's the fans who've made their way up from the south. Larry Tompkins over, pacing up and down the sideline, hoping that the likes of Aidan Dorgan can get decent possession. But they have not been a threat seriously up front. Haven't got the ball. Joe Fallon, they can't get it beyond midfield or half back. Fallon again. And that is another one. Evans knows what the score is going to be here unless Cork get going. Cork just needing a couple of scores just to try and settle them down, but Galway are very single-minded. Mannion. They come again. Joe Bergen racing through. O'Donovan's after him. Might have just caught him there with a challenge to effectively put him off his stride. Lynch. Ah, they were waiting on it, and here comes the prayer. He might be in for a goal here. He is. Cork are all over the place. 21 minutes gone. And Sean Ogue, the player, comes up for his second ever goal in championship football. He kept it on the ground and drove it in low past Kevin O'Dwyer. But it was all the product of very poor defending. And the player said, thank you very much indeed. Joe Kavanagh, still recovering from an injury. Kieran O'Sullivan towards Colin Corkery. He's not getting the breaks like he got them 7 days ago. Moynihan tended to stay off him 7 days ago. Today, Gary Fahy is right up, breathing down his neck. Joe Kavanagh. Can the big man get it this time? It breaks, and again there's support around there, but it falls to Clifford inside for Kieran Murray. And goal! Back into it. "26 minutes are gone. Cork finally get their first score, and it's a big one from Fionn Murray. It is his 7th goal in championship football. Still no question or doubt about it, it's been Galway's first half. They've been much the better of the two teams. But here comes Brendan Gerald Sullivan, Philip Clifford thundering into a challenge, partly blocked down, it's a 45.
That's a wonderful bit of defending that time by Michael Donald, the way he got back there, because again Clifford made great inroads that time, had a goal on, but Donald's tackle was of the highest quality.
Corkery kicking, they need this one, and he's put it over the bar. It's his first point from the 45-metre kick. 1-7 to 1-1. Brendan Gerald Sullivan here, taking on Dupoir, Galway's goal scorer. Cork coming through here. Brendan Gerald Sullivan knocking it over the bar. It's his first point, and there's now only 5 points between the teams. Here comes Alan Kearns once again. Dupoir. Tommy Joyce. Just lost it. Races after it. Graham Canty bending his back, picking it up. Facing it towards his own goal. That should have been. He was trying to play it back to Kevin O'Dwyer. Would have been a dreadful goal to give away. And Galway were very, very close to it. And had Galway got a second goal there, it could have been over as a contest. Kieran Fitzgerald instead has pulled back there. Fionn Murray. Cork at the free kick. So Podsey comes on. Philip goes off. Colin Corkery striking it well. That's his second long-range free. But they have an awful lot to do, and Larry, I'm sure, appreciates that. The rain now threatening to come down here. Here comes Sexton. 2 men after. Joao Fallon's reaching in well, and he seems to have pulled up Joao Fallon. Hamstring, I think.
Yes, indeed, he's holding his right hamstring at the moment. He made a great bit of defensive work there, but he certainly seems to have done damage to his right hamstring.
Galway right now down to 14. They still haven't brought in the replacement. Ja's still getting attention as Kieran O'Sullivan drives it in towards Mark O'Sullivan. He lets it fall down. There's a chance here. Here's Mark O'Sullivan going through, and he's dispossessed. And Galway defend valiantly. That should have been a goal for Cork.
That was a fabulous bowling opportunity. Mark O'Sullivan will be very annoyed with himself that he didn't get a shot off in that case.
Once again, Cork take it forward here. Hit long. Murray coming through. O'Sullivan, goal chance this time, and he's missed it, and he's cleared away by the player. How many goal chances are Cork going to spurn here? They've missed 2 in the last couple of minutes, and Galway can thank Sean Og, the player, plus a very stout defence.
And Cork certainly are creating the opportunities at the moment to get them back into the game.
15 minutes into the second half, as Colin Corkery has put it over from the 45. He's converted his second 45. He has yet to score from play, however. Alan Kearns comes down once again here towards Matthew Clancy. Back to Derek Savage. Good ball inside to Paul Clancy. Winding himself up to hit a point, and it's a very good one. The man who won the match against Armagh has steadied things down here for Galway once again as Paul Clancy from Mullycullen strikes his first of the day. The margin is 6 once more. Played in nicely towards Mark O'Sullivan. Comes back here to Brendan Ger O'Sullivan, and the gap closes. Brendan Ger has kicked his second. There are now 4 points between the teams. Martin Cronin. Kearns is back defending. He's still going forward. This is one of the difficulties Cork are experiencing right now. They're playing more as individuals. Dropped in there towards Mark O'Sullivan, Kieran Fitzgerald, and there's Michael Donnellan back to help out, getting away from Fionn Murray. Michael Donnellan, Richie Fahey calling for it, and there's that great understanding. But it's a terrible ball, and Colin Corkery has picked it up. Forget the great understanding, what about the great kick? Colin Corkery, 5 points, a defensive mistake by Galway for once, and there are 3 points between these teams. Billy Morgan there watching from the centre of the stand there. It comes back once again to Derek Kavanagh. Suddenly it's old Cork. O'Sullivan, that's Kieran O'Sullivan, dropping it in. 2 men inside waiting for it. And ahead by Dorgan, and kicked in the air by Pontiano, put over the board. 2 points between them. Meehan, put out by Anthony Lynch. 110, 1-8. Galway the leaders from the very beginning of this game. Into Sexton. You wouldn't have given Cork any chance whatsoever after 21 minutes play. Here's Murray. Corker is calling for it, surrounded by Galway players. Other players arriving, like Brendan Ger O'Sullivan. 3 Galway players there. They get it out as far as Murray, hitting the target and hitting it high over the bar. A defiant raise in the arm there by Fionn Murray. It's a goal and a point for the St. Finbarr's player. It's a terrible pass ahead. Martin Cronin has to go back and defend. Galway have it again, and it's Pádraig Choice. Real leader out on the field there for them. Here comes his brother Tommy. They go for another, and he's got it. It's a beautiful strike. Good covering by the Galway backs. Kieran O'Sullivan driving it in towards Mark O'Sullivan. A good catch this time against Richie Fahy. Leaving it back out to Fionn Murray. They close him down. He gets the kick in nonetheless, and it's an accurate one. A goal and 2 points for Murray. 2 points between them. Galway have made 35 scoring chances in all in this match against 22 for Cork. And there will be another 2 minutes to play. They were trying to box it back up that time when it comes to Joyce. Released instead here to the number 22, Matthew Clancy, and he kicks, and it's over the bar. Larry Tompkins realises that it's a very perilous situation now for Cork. They were guilty of giving Galway such a lead. 26 minutes without scoring in the first half. 2 really good goal chances missed in the second. And always chasing this match. And now trailing by 3. Derry Kavanagh. Just over a minute to play. Cork need a goal. Nothing else will save them at this stage. Ponzi O'Mahony. That's Mark O'Sullivan. And he's down, but he's down outside the large rectangle. And it's a free into Cork. Will it just be one strike and you're out? Or one strike and you're still there? Here comes Corkery. And it's saved by the goalkeeper. And they try to turn it in. There's still time. Cork are protesting. It's a free, and it's a free to Galway. And I think time is just about up. Still a little bit to play. But only a matter of a second or two, I'm sure. All eyes on John Bannon. Galway have possession. They also have a 3-point lead. The referee is entitled to add on time for the wasted time we had in this additional phase. And here's Joe Bergen sending it out decently there to Declan Meehan. Savage. Galway with the last attack. And that's a beauty. And it's over the bar from Matthew Clancy. It's a second point for him. It's Galway surely now in the quarterfinals of the All-Ireland Series. It is now. They've won by 4 points. So it's Galway who will be in the draw tonight.
We were magnificent again for the first 20 minutes, 1-7 up. But we made, I mean, it was the most, it was the most tense game that I ever had here in Croke Park, in the sense that they came back at us and we didn't get scores for long periods. But again, we came strong again at the end. So we're putting everyone through hell, but at least we're in that old pot tonight.
We had a very good first 20 minutes. Like everything we did, seemed to come off. We scored some, very good points in that. And the goal was just an interception, and I had no time to pick it up, because if I did, I think I'd have been tackled in that. So I just pulled on it, and lucky it went in,
So much was right, but we didn't get the scores on the board. But it can be frustrating, but as I said, I'm proud of every one of those lads that they fought to the bitter end. They showed great character, and that's what you need, to be up at the best. And certainly we feel we're a good side, and hopefully every one of them stick together and stick in there.
And will it be a chance now for you, to take personal stock, or is it too early to talk about things like that?
Well, no comment on that. We just see how things muster up. I just hope that every one of those players bounce back, and I have no doubt they will.
Well, the Galway Football Board will have to start handing out Valium tablets to their supporters if they become involved in many more games like that. But the important thing is, from their point of view, they're into the championship quarter-finals. Pat Spillane, since they lost to Roscommon and Connacht, Galway have steadied themselves very well and have come through tough encounters, having to go to Ockram, obviously the game against Armagh, today's game. But they will be concerned about the fact that they're not shutting out games that they're dominating.
Yes, they've produced superb opening 30 minutes of football, both against Armagh and again today. Superb football, first time, great movement, quick ball into space, turn, pop over the bar. And then suddenly they die. They went 20 minutes against Armagh without scoring at all. They went 20 minutes today without scoring at all. They went a half an hour against Armagh without getting any score from play. They went 37 minutes today without getting a score from play. And that despite the fact that they had 30% more chances than Cork. Why? They seem to lose the battle around the middle third. Sean Og, the player, Declan Meehan, like to come forward. Today they were on defensive duties for most of the game. Uncomfortable. Half forward line, failed to create any impact. The right side of attack was poor. And I think most worryingly, and I think it's a major problem, midfield collapse. Michael Donnan, and I questioned his role at the start of the game, and I still question it. Most of his good, tremendous worker, tremendous engine, but most of his good work is being done back in defence. He's pumping the ball up high to where he should be. Look, he's the best half forward in the game. He should be up there scoring. When he hasn't the physique, he hasn't the strength, he hasn't the height for the centre field battles. When he comes up against the big men like the Darrow Shields, the Anthony Tolls or whatever like that, and that's where Galway's collapse. They're a cocky, confident sort of team. When things go well, they can really show about and really put on a performance. Playing on the back foot, a little bit uncomfortable.
One thing that they can't do anything about in preparing for the next day out, Joe Brawley, is they've lost Jaff Fallon. Basically went off with a hamstring injury today, and if it's as bad as it looked, then he's a big blow.
Yeah, well, especially with the injuries that Jazz had. You know, when your powers of recovery aren't the same when you're in your 30s as when you're in your sort of early 20s. And hamstring, especially if it's a bad hamstring injury, that'll be him for the championship. You know, there's really no way back from that. I think that Pat's right about Galway. Particularly, well, let's say it, Russ. We're trying to coax him to a dinner dance later on in the year. But I think the midfield is a real problem for Galway. Roscommon cleaned them out in the middle of the field, and that's why Roscommon beat them. Kerry did it in the All-Ireland final last year, when in the last 20 minutes of the replayed final they demolished them around the middle of the field. And I mean, even Maurice Fitzgerald was coming out and taking high catches in the middle of the field. Without Kevin Walsh, they're struggling. Whenever he went off today, that's when Galway started to decline. And I mean, the problem really today was that Cork didn't compete in the first 15 minutes, so it was really like a challenge match in the first 15 minutes. I mean, Galway were scoring at their leisure. They were 3-4 years, and by the time Cork started playing, it was really too late. But once Cork got the bit between their teeth, similarly, the way whenever Armagh finally got the bit between their teeth, Galway looked very vulnerable indeed. Now, their full-back line's improved since the Roscommon game. Tomas Mannion much better in the half-back, but they're still struggling in the middle of the field, and that must be a big worry for them.
And yes, obviously, Pat Spillane, Galway will point out this evening, we won the match, and Cork will be looking at some of the chances that they had maybe in the second half that, well, didn't get and would have made a difference.
Well, Larry, if you're listening, I'm going to say something nice. He can be proud of their fight back, and they had 2 goal chances in the second half. Mark O'Sullivan, I think he erred in going to pick up the ball. I think it needed a first-time shot, and by the time he picked up the ball, it was well smothered out by the Galway defence. It was certainly a half a chance. Perhaps Philip Clifford was in a better position going away from the defence to take it. And then, just after that, again, the same player, Mark O'Sullivan, had another chance. A great turn by Finan Murray into Mark O'Sullivan, and Mark, instead of opting for accuracy, opted for power, and unfortunately hit it off the back of Tommy Joyce. Now, when you think of that, Cork gave Galway 1-7 of a start, came to 1 point of them with 7 minutes to go, missed 2 goal scoring chances. They did have a tremendous fight back, but you know, maybe looking back on it, I think last week they lost their focus. I think for a couple of days last week they were blaming referees and blaming this and blaming that instead of look, forgetting about crying over spilt milk is no good. I think the Dubs focused straight away after meet. Cork didn't, and that was their mistake, because the first 20 minutes they weren't interested and they weren't at the races.
Alright, gentlemen, thank you again for the moment. Now, before we conclude in this game, we come to our Man of the Match award, and the trophy on this occasion goes to the Galway fullback Gary Fahy. Well, Gary faced a tough task today against Colin Corkery, but he not only dealt with that threat, but generally was a rock of sense in the Galway defence. So, the Galway Irish Crystal Award to the Galway defender, and presented by the Galway reporter, Jim Carney.
Gary Fahy, congratulations on your Man of the Match award. Magnificent display. The game, Gary.
Thanks very much. The game, a lot of similarities between that game there today and the Armagh game. Dominated early on, then fell away badly. I don't know what's wrong with us falling away in games like that, but we have some work to do for the next 2 weeks, and we'll see the draw tonight what happens.
But Gary, Galway once again right there.
Well, we're there with 7 of the teams, so that's all I can say.
Well, they certainly are indeed. Well done to Gary Fahy today. Now, next here on the Sunday game, it's the draw for the next round of the Football Championship. Now, it's been a bit of a meandering road, I suppose, for some counties this summer. Occasionally it's been a bit confusing as well for the public at large, but it's all becoming quite straightforward at this stage. Or is it? Well, we've reached the draw for the quarter-finals indeed, and to take us through that, it's over to Tracy Millay.
Yes, we're back again, this time to make the draw for the All-Ireland Football quarter-finals. The first time we've ever had All-Ireland Football quarter-finals, and they are the end result of what has certainly been a fascinating qualifier series. So the draw then, and I must admit that this one is a little more complicated than some of the others we've done. First of all, as you can see, we again have 2 bowls on the table. In the first bowl are the names of the provincial winners. In the other, the names of the winners of the 4th round of the qualifier. And the mechanics of the draw, well, the provincial champions will be drawn first and will be placed like this on lines A, B, C and D. And then we draw from the other bowl, and they will be placed from the top as well, provided that they aren't drawn against the team which beat them in the provincial final. If they are, they then move down a line. I hope it doesn't sound too complicated. It isn't really. And anyway, Sean McCaig, Uachtaráin, Cumann Class Scale is here, and he's going to make sure that it happens properly and that we all understand it as it goes. And we're joined also by Des Crowley from the Bank of Ireland. So off you go, gentlemen. Des is going to draw from the Provincial Champions Bowl first.
First out.
This is it, Des.
Indeed.
Big expectations tonight, but who gets out first? And more importantly, whom they meet. First out this time, the men from the west, Roscommon. Roscommon. There's a dramatic finish in the college final. They're followed out by Ulster champions Tyrone.
Third one shot.
Third out. The Royals from Meath on line C. And finally we must have the All-Ireland champions, the men from the Kingdom, Kerry. So that's A, B, C, D. Now Des, come over this other vault from the Bank of Ireland and
thank you.
Can you unlock the secret of the treasure that's going to be here for Roscommon, Tyrone, Meath and Kerry?
Let's go, Sean. It was a good start around. First out.
First out to play Roscommon. Hold your breath. Oh, their neighbours from Galway. I'm quite sure a lot of people in Connacht will say that's one they would have preferred not to have. Tyrone and their neighbours from Derry. An all Connacht clash, an all Ulster clash. And since we have Dublin and Meath still in the pot, obviously Dublin can't draw Meath at this stage, so Dublin will be playing Kerry and Meath the remainder. Go ahead, Des.
Yep.
So if this is Dublin, it will be playing Kerry. And it is Dublin, so that's Dublin going on the next line for Kerry. And obviously it's West Meath who must be left to play their neighbours from Meath.
Have another go at them.
Another go at them. So there we have Meath and West Meath. So in this instance we have had an all Connacht one, an all Ulster one, an all Leinster one, and then we've got the big one, Kerry and Dublin.
Kerry and Dublin. Great.
Yeah, well, I suppose for those of you who sometimes worry that these draws might be fixed or in some way influenced, well, if they were, they wouldn't have done it that way. I'm convinced of that. Yeah, peculiar, interesting situation. Joe Brolly, I mean, the first thing that strikes you there is, I mean, these matches, the first three matches have happened already in the Championship. Galway, Roscommon, of course, Tyrone met Derry before, and Westmeath were narrow losers to Meath. In Leinster.
I mean, I'm sure that there are houses all over Derry and Tyrone where people are just groaning in dismay at meeting each other again.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, from Tyrone's point of view, it's just the one team they hated to, you know, the thought of having to go and play in the game, because Derry are a difficult team to play against. Likewise, I don't think Derry will have any great love of this fixture. You know, I think the point's well made. It seems to me that it would have been a much better way to organise it, to separate teams from different provinces so that you couldn't play again. I mean, what we have in three circumstances are reruns of games, and you'd at least expect, I mean, Derry, for example, have come through this 5 games now, and we're still not going to get a run in Croke Park. You know, it's very, very likely that game will, I mean, it's almost inevitable that a Derry-Tyrone game is going to be in Clonus, so we're not going to get the reward of a big glamour fixture against Meath or Dublin, which would have been brilliant for us, or Kerry even. But there it is. I mean, I think that from the point of view of motivation and revenge, that Derry are in the driving seat in that sense after what happened in the Tyrone-Derry game. But I mean, apart from that, the glamour isn't in the fixture for us.
Yeah, it is what it is, but there is certainly a glamour fixture in Patspillan, of course, which is Kerry and Dublin.
There is, yeah. I mean, the other 3 draws, like I said, are fairly drab, and no one can be accused of rigging this one, because they were the fixtures you didn't want. There's one and only one fixture that stands out, and that's Kerry-Dublin. And I mean, it brings back memories of the clashes of the 70s and 80s when those clashes revived what was a very, very poor Gaelic football scene. Now, in fairness, the Gaelic football scene isn't as bad, but Kerry-Dublin always bring an added touch of glamour. It's the Culchies against the City Slickers, you know, Dublin for the Sam, Kerry for holidays. And the last time they played in the championship was 1985, and I'd take a similar result again in their next meeting. So it's the one to look forward to. It really
is. Yeah, I have to say, mind you, now, in fairness to the other fixtures as well, my view would be, I mean, they may not be the way they would want them to come out, but drab, I certainly wouldn't say they're going to be drab. There'll be some interesting games there. Could I just point out as well at this stage, by the way, that in terms of the All-Ireland semi-finals, the first two pairings out will play against each other in the semi-final, the winners of that obviously, and then the second two. So in other words, the winners of the Roscommon Galway match will play the winners of Tyrone Derry, and the Meath-Westmeath match, whoever wins that one, will play against either Kerry or Dublin. That is in the All-Ireland semi-finals. Now, we've done pretty much the main business of the day on the Sunday game, but we still have one thing to do, because those of you who are holding out hopes of picking up a Sony PlayStation 2, we have two on offer in this week's competition, plus the winners from last weekend. Now, be prepared to take a note of the phone numbers, please, because once again you're getting the opportunity to win one of these PlayStation 2s. We have two of them to give away, along with, by the way, a number of top-of-the-range games, and also these exclusive Sunday game packs consisting of a Sunday game bag, a watch and a pen. Identify the player. Now, that's the task we've asked you to do, and this was the man, Seamus Moynihan, the Kerry star full-back. Now, we have thousands of entries, as usual, and out of all of those, the winners. Getting the PlayStation 2s are Niall Hogan from Burr, County Offaly, and Paul Tighe from Castletroy in Limerick. And receiving the Sunday game packs will be Josephine O'Neill from Killarney, County Kerry, and Maria Doyle from Donamead in Dublin. OK, so to this week then. Now, here is our mystery guest. Showing off some fancy footwork is one of the Sligo stars. But who is he? Is he A, Eamon O'Hara, or B, Eamon Coughlin, or C, Eamon Cregan? Well, you decide which it is and phone your answers, please, A, B or C, to this number. It's 1550 719 249. Just repeat that again, 1550 719 249. Now, if you're phoning from Northern Ireland, it's 0901 063 2001. And as ever, those calls cost 58 pence per minute. The lines will be open until midnight on Wednesday, and the numbers are also up on our website. Now, also, by the way, we have actually got confirmation of the venues and times for those matches. In that football qualifier, Dublin and Kerry will play in Thurles at 3 o'clock on Saturday, August the 4th. That's Saturday week, of course. And Roscommon and Galway will be in Castlebar at 6:15. Then on the Sunday, it's Tyrone and Derry in Clonus, as Joe Brolly rightly predicted. And then Meath and Westmeath, that'll be in Croke Park at 4:20. And because, I have to also say to you, because of the popularity of these qualifiers, you can see all of those games, one way or another, live here on RTE television. So I'm sure that's something to look forward to. Gentlemen, very briefly before we close on this, predictions. Dublin and Kerry, Joe Brolly.
The Dubs.
Okay,
just for the hell of it. You know, I think that they're very exciting. They looked very exciting today, and they looked very exciting last week, and sooner or later, Kerry are vulnerable. Half-forward line poor, McGarrett and Keneally not performing. You know, Morris Fitzgerald really looking as if his best days were behind him. I know that Pat thinks that the only football in Ireland's played in Kerry.
What about Roscommon and Galway, gentlemen?
Well, I think you're going to have two to turn the tables. I think Galway will turn the tables in Roscommon. I think Derry to turn the tables in Tyrone. I don't think Westmeath. I think Westmeath have improved even more. Westmeath will be beaten again. Dublin, Kerry. Jeez, Kerry, surely it's going to be a tight one. But my heart says Kerry.
Will your lads beat Tyrone?
I have no comment, and I refuse to be drawn on that. I think Tyrone will win the game pulling away, and probably Tyrone will be Tyrone will win by 5 or 6 points.
Yeah, you're beginning to understand the diplomacy and the mind games of all this kind of. Very good. You can both speak freely about Meath and Westmeath because you have no other agenda.
I think that Meath will introduce Westmeath to the realities of life now in this quarter-final. As the stakes get higher, so the Meath team will rise to the occasion. I think that Westmeath got past Mayo last night, but there was nothing in it between them. And Westmeath are very reliant on Ger Heaven. Excellent season thus far. Everything revolves around him. They don't really have any other very impressive scoring forward. I thought they were better than that, but in the circumstances, I would say that Meath will crush them.
They had two mighty performances at midfield last night, though, down in Dr. Hyde Park, Patspillan.
They had indeed, but at the same time, you know, Mayo second half, old failings back to haunt him, kicked everywhere between the two goal posts. I mean, it's the same thing, you know. Got carried away. League success doesn't automatically entitle you to winning in All-Ireland, and found out to their cost. I was, like Joe, disappointed with Westmeath last night. I thought they would be more impressive. They weren't, and like I said, Meath have improved 500% since that day in Croke Park against Westmeath.
Well, I have to say, being in Dr. Hyde Park last night, Westmeath were impressive enough to send their supporters into delirium at a fantastic win, it has to be said. There was a great atmosphere and great occasion down there last night, and fair play to them. Well, now, for the results of the day in Gaelic games, let's just check on those for you. The Bank of Ireland Football Championship, the round 4 qualifiers, these are the games we saw today. Galway 114, Cork 110, Dublin 317, Sligo 12 points in that game, and Clonus finished Derry 114, Cavan 2-7. Now we have a hurling result for you. This is in Ulster in the Under-21 Championship there. Antrim 218, Derry 116. Now finally, a camogie result in the Senior Championship. Good win for Clare against Down 6-9 to 1-2, and that means that Clare will now meet Kilkenny in the Camogie Championship quarter-finals. And looking ahead to next weekend, the attention turns to the hurling championship and the quarter-final clash between Limerick and Wexford. Can Limerick make it to the semi-finals, or can Wexford bounce back after their Leinster drubbing by Kilkenny? All will be revealed in 7 days' time. OK, that's about it then from the Sunday game. Once again, another interesting weekend in the Football Championship. Great excitement for some, the end of the road for others. But for us here on the programme, the show goes on. We'll see you next Sunday.